You found out you're a generator or a manifesting generator in your human design, and now you're incredibly curious to deeper understand the concept of to respond. Your strategy in your human design is the actionable step that will actually allow you to embody your energetic authenticity. So if you're a generator, a manifesting generator, and you want to understand your strategy deeper, listen to the end of this video because I'm going to break it down in a very tangible way with practical tips that you can start applying so that you can really connect with the universe to align with the right people, opportunities, and chances in your life. Let's dig deep. Welcome to the Human Design Portal, your safe space so that you can align with your highest purpose. If you're new here, my name is Micah Gabriella and I'm a human design reader, a deconditioning expert, and the founder of the Transformational Human Design Certification. And right now, we have a new member area called the Uprising Club. It's absolutely free and there's loads of human design goodies waiting for you, so I invite you to join now. If you are interested in starting your deconditioning process, please subscribe to this channel because the more that you engage with this content, the more that you absorb the information, the more you allow it to anchor into your subconscious, the stronger the deconditioning process will be. In human design, we have something called the cellular activation that happens only through an oral transmission. So this is a great way to start your day for energetic authenticity. So now that we've got the intro out of the way, let's start into understanding deeper what the strategy for you is as a generator or manifesting generator. And the first thing that I want to say is that the reason that I've decided to put the generator and the manifesting generator together in this video is because you have the same strategy, and your strategy is to respond. Why do you have the same strategy? Because you both are energy types that have a defined sacral center, which makes you a sacral being, which makes you an energetic energy type. Because this sacral center is at the height of your belly button, and it is connected to your desire, to your creativity, to your pleasure, to your joy, to your excitement. And so it is such an important key to understand that you're meant to experience life with consistent energy. And this is part of the framework to understand why you need to respond in your life to attract the right people, opportunities, and chances, and why responding to life is going to be your safest bet to have a fulfilling and plentiful, bountiful life experience. Let's get into it. But first things first, what actually is the strategy and why is it so important? So from the human design perspective, understanding your energy type and working and moving in according with your energetic authenticity will allow you to remove resistance and really find that feeling of flow. And so the strategy is that actionable step that allows you to connect with the support of the universe to work in alignment with the way that you're meant to experience life. And so what happens is that in society, we're very conditioned by how things are meant to be done. And so we often get pulled away from our inner guidance. And so if you are a manifesting generator or a generator that is here to respond as your strategy, you're really here to look inward. You're really here to assess what's going on within yourself. And a lot of times what happens is that we're very disconnected from the wisdom that our body holds because our society has told us that intellect is superior. But actually, even though the mind is fantastic to find solutions to your problems and get inspired, it is not here to move you into the direction of your purpose. And so it is a very complex mechanism of energetics and deconditioning to understand why you're having trouble as a manifesting generator listening to your sacral, why you might not trust this respond mechanism, while you might fear tapping into your body. And I'm going to break down a little bit what are the things that are stopping you, why they are stopping you, and what are the things that you can do to actually align to your strategy to remove all of this resistance and really get back into that exciting, fulfilling sense of exploring your life full of energy. This is my favorite way of explaining it. Your sacral center is like a treasure box. And when you do the things that you love, it's sparkly, it's glowy, everybody's looking at it, everybody's like, oh, let's have a coffee, let's do this, let's do that. Why? Because you have a magnetic pulling in aura. Your aura is like a hurricane that is around you constantly. You're like in the eye of the tiger, okay? You're like in the midst of the hurricane, and everything is like pulling towards you. And so the sacral center is only glowy and illuminating and sparkly and juicy when you do the things that you love, because it is connected to your sacral center, and your sacral center is connected to your joy, pleasure, and creativity. Meaning, when you do not have consistent energy, like if right now energy is an issue for you, I always say energy is a barometer to understand how aligned you are, especially for generators and manifesting generators. If you're suffering from a burnout, if you're depressed, if you don't want to get up in the morning, if you're not motivated, if you have the feeling like you're stuck and things aren't moving, that is because you're not actually listening to your sacral center, and you're probably operating from fear or your mind to try to get along in life. And so I'm going to break down how you can get in touch with your sacral center and why it is so important. So the first is this, right? Really understanding that if you don't have energy, it is because that treasure box is overfilled with too many compromises. You're saying yes to too many things that you actually don't want to do because you think you should and because you think you must. And the shoulds and the musts are one of those things that for generators and manifesting generators stand in their way to live a fulfilling life the mostest. There is actually like a generational karma for generators and manifesting generators around learning that you don't have to sacrifice your own desires to get ahead in life or achieve things in life or be happy in life. Because what happens is that in the olden times, we had the manifester that are the kings and the conquerors, but the manifester doesn't have consistent energy. So the manifester would be like, let's conquer the land, and then use all of the manifesting generators, and especially generators back then, as soldiers to do the dirty work. And so that is really something that is imprinted in every generator that I've met, every manifesting generator that I've met, is that they struggle a lot to understand that they don't have to people please, and that it's okay to follow their own internal cues. And this is the next thing. So why do we have issues trusting our body? Why are we afraid to listening to our internal cues? Why are we young adults that don't know what to study, don't know what to wear, don't know what to eat? Why are we studying something for 3-4 years and then suddenly we're realizing this is not at all what I wanted? Why are we in businesses? Why are we creating things? Why are we, getting to a point in our career or in our romantic relationship where we're suddenly kind of like have these realizations where it's like, what am I doing? I'm not happy at all. I don't feel fulfilled or satisfied at all in these different aspects of my life, or maybe in all aspects of life, right? That is a rude awakening. And that is because from a very small age, we are brought up in an environment and our caretakers are kind of not fully seeing who we've come to be as individuals. And so with the best intention, or with society's intention to be productive in a certain way, in like an old paradigm way, we actually don't get to express our whole authentic self. In order to feel loved, in order to have a sense of belonging, we will need to reject parts of our whole authentic self to fit in and to avoid emotional or even physical abuse. And so when that happens, we start disconnecting from our inner voice and we start over-analyzing our environment, walking on eggshells to make sure that everything that we do is something that is acceptable, won't bring punishment, and keeps us safe. And that is a very natural, very deep human instinct to be safe and to survive. And so it makes absolute sense that you might be in a place in your life where you don't feel fully aligned, or you feel stuck, or you feel that you haven't really found that thing that sparks your joy, or you don't have the amount of energy that you know that you have access to. So first thing I want you to do is to really have compassion and to have curiosity and figure out why you are in the situation that you are right now, if you are feeling like there's potential for growth, or you're currently in a situation where you're not fully excited and aligned. When we look at these things with curiosity instead of judgment, there's so much more growth and so much more opportunity for healing and mending. And so one of the things that I think is really important to understand, and this is one of my favorite things to remind myself when I'm at that point where I'm like, what's happening, is really understanding that often when we are in our healing journey, when we are in our spiritual awakening, when we are like spiritually curious, maybe we go to therapy, we do shadow work, we do all of the things. Nowadays, everything's available. I want you to look at, you're here. You probably have some vision, goal, manifestation, list, dream of getting here. And we can get really angry at the gap. We can be really frustrated at the gap. And so what I want you to do is to realize that everything that you feel right now is holding you back from experiencing the life you want or becoming the person you want to become. That is a pattern that you had to create in order to be safe. Meaning that thing that right now is standing in the way for you to become and have the experience you want, at some point kept you safe. So instead of hating that pattern, hating yourself, being angry, feeling frustrated, I want you to be loving to that part, to that pattern that is having resistance around change, because it was only built to keep you safe. Okay, so let's just take a moment to appreciate what that pattern, what that blockage, what that misalignment has done for you until now. Let's be grateful for that, okay? Once we do that, we can start to look at what are the compromises that we're doing. What are the coping mechanisms that we have in order to feel safe, but that no longer serve us. And now that we are adults, we can actually kind of be the person who takes care of our needs, who is able to express what it wants, what it needs, yes and no. Yes and no is a very big part of the to respond strategy for manifesting generators and generators, because that is the most basic, essential way your sacral center works. So your sacral center will be like a hell yes or a ugh, no, don't want to do it, disgusted. In the OG books, it's kind of like I don't like that kind of expression. I think it's very confusing to make it like an actual sound, because I feel like hell yes, ugh no, just brings it out better, okay? But you can let me know in the comments what you prefer. And so your sacral center is very basic. It's like, I love that shit, it's disgusting. And when you are confused, when you don't have clear answers, when you feel like your body's not responding, or you don't have that sense, visceral kind of feeling in your body of like, oh, I want it, or like, I really don't want it, then that is often because the question you're asking yourself is too broad. So it is really empowering if you have manifesting generator children or generator children and you want to help and guide them through life, to ask them yes and no questions. Or if you have a partner, to let them know that it's good for you to have yes and no questions. It will ease any kind of decision in any kind of like situation in your romantic relationship, at work, whatever it is. You can always ask yourself yes and no, and that will bring a much more visceral question than if you ask a grand question like, what is your 3-year plan? You're like, well, I don't know. But if you're like, oh, do you want to move to Mexico in 3 years? Or do you want to go to the Swiss Alps? Like, you can have a reaction there, and that's when you respond. Another thing that I want to kind of like demystify is that on the internet, people like to say, waiting to respond. And this is very triggering to me, because waiting to respond, the word waiting is such a projector word that I feel like if we start mixing the kind of words and the different strategies of different energy types, it makes sense that that shit's confusing. So waiting for the invitation is for the projectors, responding for me, the way that I see it and the way that I like to explain it, is for generators and manifesting generators. So what does it mean to respond? Meaning to respond means that we are waiting for something to come in our periphery. This is a constant act. Your aura is constantly pulling things into your periphery, meaning you are not acting from your mind of like, this is what I have to do and this makes sense to do. But it is rather an actual feeling in your body that you will notice when you see, smell, talk, listen, look at things. Like, your senses will be engaged. Everything you see, everybody you meet, everything you eat, every place that you go will have a yes, no reaction in your body. And that is when you respond. And so it is really important to understand that this is the first step. The first step is always to respond. The first step is always to feel in your body when something is getting you excited, when something is giving you energy. You know that you are aligned when the more you do what you love gives you more energy. When you're noticing that what you're doing is draining you, you have gotten off your path and you're doing too many compromises. For me, the number one step to actually move out of this resistance and start connecting to your body, start connecting to your sacral center, is assessing how many compromises you have and giving you tools so that you can start delegating what you don't want to do. And this is a big one because as a generator, manifesting generator, you have all this energy. You know you're meant to support other people with your energy. So often it can feel very, you can feel guilty or feel shameful of not wanting to do things. But this is actually the way that you get aligned. Whenever you notice that you're doing something, this can be like, you have to have a newsletter in your business. You have to, whatever people are telling you, you have to. If your sacral is not excited, it is going to drain you and move you away from your path so much more to do what you don't want to do than to not do what you don't want to do. Even if you don't do what you want to do, not doing what you don't want to do is so much better than doing what you don't want to do, but not doing what you want to do. Okay, this is confusing. I recognize that, but that's okay. What I'm trying to say is that going against your sacral center is going to drain you. And that is worse than not doing anything at all. So until you have clarity towards what it is you actually want to put your time and energy into, it is better to not do anything. During this time that you're not doing anything, during this time that you're opening yourself up for the right people to align with you, right chances to align with you, this is when you double down on the things that excite you. This is when you double down on the things that fill you up. This is when you cook, bake, paint, create, do jewelry, ceramics, like whatever it is. I don't know why I do know why, because you're here to create. But manifesting generators, you love your hobbies, you love doing things with your hands. And so double down on that process because it will fill you up, it will energize you, and that will create a stronger magnetic field, and it will heighten the intensity to which you will be able to respond to different things. So really assessing that sacral center and looking at how many things you're doing that you don't want to do, and start delegating the things that you don't want to do if you actually have to do them. Something like taxes. I'm not a generator or a manifesting generator, but I hate doing my taxes, and that is why I have somebody who does it for me. Why? Because they're so much better than me, and it's not gonna kill my soul and my spirit to do it. They actually feel like it's meditative. Going back to what I always say, when everybody just does what they're really good at and they really enjoy, we make space for other people to step into their power and do what they love and, generates joy for them. So, delegation. I remember having a client during the pandemic. Their waitress job was canceled. She was struggling financially, but she preferred to pay somebody to make her bed and cook food than to do it herself. And that was one of the most badass aligned things for her to do as a generator. So keep that in mind, okay? Delegating the stuff you don't want to do is so important. Second, conscious communication. Because what's going to happen? Imagine you're a manifesting generator and you're just coming out of the cinema with your girlfriends and you're super excited, your sacral is lit up, you're so happy, and your girlfriends are like, oh my God, this was amazing, let's meet next week for drinks. In that moment, your sacral center is gonna be like, hell yes, I wanna do it, that's amazing. But it could be that by the time the date comes around to meet for drinks, you're actually tired, you're not feeling like you're not really in the mood, and then you feel bad about saying no and canceling that meetup with your girlfriends because you're already confirmed. So we want to give ourselves, or you want to give yourself some leeway to be your authentic self. You want to be able to communicate, listen, right now, I'm so excited about seeing you all again. I had such an incredible time and I can't wait to meet you again, but allow me to confirm on the same day or the night before just to double check if I'm actually really aligned and energized to do it. Because what's going to happen? If you then go and meet your girlfriends for drinks, even though you want to stay at home and you don't have energy and you just want to rest, or you just want to be by yourself for whatever reason and do other things that are creative, like what I said before, you will actually not contribute to the energy of the group because you're doing something out of a compromise and not out of a desire. And this is really the key to understanding your to respond mechanism, right? You have to give yourself the freedom to be able to express your needs, and being able to say yes or no in any given circumstance without people taking it personally requires for you to understand nonviolent communication and honest communication, so that you can express things without it being anything that makes you afraid of not being lovable, of being, you know, excommunicated from your friends. Like this is even though it doesn't make sense, because you know, if you don't go for drinks, it doesn't mean your friends will never talk to you again. For a lot of us, there can be this deep-seated fear of just expressing our needs, because we grew up in an environment where talking about our needs was punished or just unacceptable and not encouraged, and we don't know how to do it. And so this is a really powerful exercise for you to tune into your sacral center, understanding your needs and starting to learn to externalize them and share them with the people that you love. And that is what creates magnetism. So the more that you start delegating stuff you don't want to do, removing things you don't want to do, and creating that trust muscle with the universe that you are safe and only doing the things that you love, which already sounds crazy. Like nobody ever taught us like, oh, if you just do the things you love, you'll be doing great. And of course, this is like an important topic, because effort is incredibly important. Effort is the piece that makes us feel satisfied. Doing difficult things is the piece that builds courage. Understanding that pain and tough times are part of the human experience and we can't run away from them is actually the most expansive, life-enhancing experiences we can have from a spiritual perspective, even more so. But it is important to understand that there is a reason that you love doing what you love doing, specifically you. There's a reason why you're really good at that little weird thing that you don't want anybody to know. So sharing that with other people or doing more of what you love is really the way that you enhance your energy and connect to your energetic authenticity. I hope that this video has helped you to understand on a deeper level what it means to respond. I hope that now you have a couple of tools to align with your body, to understand what steps to take to start really moving into this beautiful tool that helps you actualize your energetic authenticity. The strategy to respond is really that step that you can implement right this second with every person, every single interaction. And it is the thing that when you start actually doing it, not only intellectualizing it and knowing it, but actually putting it into action, will have the biggest impact in your life. If you've enjoyed this video or you think that this video could help anybody in your life, please share it with them. Tag me in stories if you find something valuable and you want to share it with your community. Let me know in the comments below if you have any more questions and you want to take the subject deeper. And remember, I don't care what anybody says, I love you.